Welcome, Panos.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for having
much
me.
for giving up
Appreciate
your
it.
valuable time, especially on the weekend.
Yeah,
all right.
and we've got little Spades here as well with us.
Thanks, Spades.
The number one boss.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, Panos, you are an amazing dog trainer. Mum, you met Panos for
I
Chloe.
did.
Why don't you tell us about that?
Okay, so I saw a post on Facebook. We had a couple of false starts with dog trainers. Chloe, our little rescue dog, came to us, and as beautiful as she is, I fell in love with my eyes. She had major issues, major anxiety issues and attachment issues, just issues, full stop. So we did have a couple of others, and that was just false starts, as I said. So this day I saw Panos's post. I think someone was recommending you, and I went, I'm going to get this guy. So I looked at a couple of comments there, and I just said to Mark, my husband, we're going to get Panos. He went, yeah, whatever. She needs help. And the catalyst was that she was getting really super possessive of me, as in when she was allowed on the bed, she just decided when she was going on and when she was going off. And Mark's a shift worker. Yeah, and he would come in and she wouldn't let him get into bed. And there was so much wrong about that. So that was when we contacted Panos, and you changed our lives.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Happy to help.
Oh, she's so much happier and better, and, happy dog, happy wife, happy life.
That's right. It's a good one.
I think the reason that I really wanted to have you on the podcast specifically is I want to talk about the healing power of dogs, and specifically not only just in the work that you do for others, but I was listening to you on that other podcast, and I mean, I think the truth of it is that dogs really saved your life as well.
Yeah, big time.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
And you happy to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, when I was 17, I was just finishing school. I got jumped, I got stabbed in the kidney, and that brought up a lot of trauma, mentally, physically, right? And, so a couple of weeks later, I finished HSE. I ended up working full time, and I went overseas with a friend for as my schoolie sort of time away, which was good. It was beautiful. Had my experience to be with others. I did a 45-day Kentucky tour, so I got to meet heaps of new people and ways of life, things that I was exposed to, things that I just wouldn't normally be exposed to. And then I came back home, and my parents bought me a dog. His name was Rocky. He's a Kelpie. And wow, that dog was just amazing. And I never had a dog before. And the dog was supposed to be mine. Yeah. And the first day I came back, straight away went for a walk with him and we interacted. It was a bit awkward because I just got off a plane and I was like, oh my God, I got this dog. And they told me that I had the dog, so it wasn't a full surprise.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what to expect. And yeah, that dog just got me out of a lot of bad habits, and I started exercising more. I started wanting to hang out with him. He came out and hung out with the boys with me. It was really cool. And there was things that were happening. Like I would be sleeping, dreaming of him, wake up, and he would be like on my bed staring at me. Like it was really special, right? And it started getting me more in touch with a part of myself that I probably generally wouldn't be. And yeah, like there was so many cool things that were happening in my life around him. And anyway, he was a year and a half old. He got diagnosed with leukemia. And then we had to, a few weeks later, we had to put him down because he was basically dead. And I was like, well, brought up a whole lot of other issues, right? And I was probably more upset when he was dying than when I thought I was going to die. And and I think there was a special thing. I can show you a photo when there was my dad was taking a photo of the sunset. This is a couple of weeks before he was diagnosed, and it's just there. So basically, my dad was taking a photo of the sunset, and he wasn't trying to take a photo of the dog. But the dog just ended up being right
under the sunbeam.
Right in the sunbeam there. So
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
We'll put that up.
Yeah, and it was, even though it's just a photo, right? But everything has meaning. And my parents put that up on a canvas and they gave it to me as a present. And one night I was still kind of, upset that he was dead, right? And I was
only after 18 months.
Of course,
he's a baby.
Months. I was going through all of this trauma. I was like, that brought up its own issues, like I would have like intense nightmares and waking up from the nightmare into another nightmare, Like I'd wake up having to flip my mattress full of sweat. I wouldn't walk outside at nighttime in the dark because, obviously thought I
Yeah.
would be attacked. Even going to the bathroom was a mission, because,
So much fear.
yeah, post-traumatic stress. No one diagnosed that with me, but
Wow.
but that's what was happening.
Yeah.
Right.
And this dog just kind of gave me that, they give us a sense of protection, but also they give you a sense of self outside of our mind, outside of our ego. And I'm looking at that photo and I was just analyzing it, saying that, well, first of all, I believe that he was meant to be and to come into my life, even for that short amount of time, because it was to start me on a new journey. It was part of my calling. And, and he came from source. He was a part of me. I believe he was a part of me from the other side.
Yes.
Just to remind me about something that maybe I chose not to be reminded of, or maybe it was something that it was just meant to be perfectly timed. And he knew he was going before all of us knew. That's how I kind of see it, especially from the photo. And it was really special. And I was studying building at the time, and I was a groundsman at Randwick Racecourse.
Yeah.
So and then there was a moment I was speaking to one of the boys there, and I'm like, I just want to work with animals. Like, I don't know. My first idea was, let's work with big cats because they're pretty cool, but there's not much opportunity for that.
No, it's not a great deal.
Not much. So, and I wanted to make the decision to, because I wasn't really passionate about building. I knew I probably would have been good at it, would have made me some money, but I just felt that I needed to do something different.
It's not all about money, is it?
Yeah, for sure. So I and my friend was like, man, that is so you, and he kind of encouraged me. Even though I don't think he was trying to, I think we were just in general conversation, but I seen it and I thought, well, how do I tell my parents about this? Because they're going to probably freak out, maybe. Well, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do I bring this up to him? And I remember I was sitting at dinner one day and the zoo, I was an episode of the zoo came on. And Mum was like, how's TAFE going, blah, blah. And I really hate it. 11-hour TAFE day. That's pretty full on, right? And I'm like, I just don't really want to do it. I don't feel happy, whatever. And she goes, well, what do you want to do? And I just pointed at the TV. I'm like, I just want to work with animals like that. And then it was just, my dad just looked at me and just goes, well, just do it. It was cool. I just thought it was going to be more of a drama, but they're very supportive of me, and they've always have been supportive of me. They've laid a good foundation in my life, but they've been pretty firm on me as well. So, we always want our parents' approval. Most people do. And since I got that, it was almost like the Rocky music came on. I was like, well, let's do it. So
Eye of the tiger.
That's exactly. So I quit TAFE. I stopped working at the race course, and I just basically volunteered at the shelter. I just went there and started walking dogs and cleaning kennels. And the girl there, Tiffany, was still good friends. She goes, hey, there's no one working on Sunday. I need a hand. Do you want to work? So I'm like, yeah, 100%. So, I started working there. Eventually I started working there full time. And from the full-time gig there, I thought, oh, what am I going to do? So I was, studying TAFE, animal studies. And I thought, well, I could go into captive animals, which means that I have to get 1 day a week working in a zoo. And where do I do that? And I thought it was a bit of a drama. And then there was people saying, I remember when I was walking Rocky one day, this is when I didn't even know a dog trainer. I didn't even know that job existed. But someone came up to me out of nowhere and goes, man, your dog's so good. You should be a dog trainer. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay.
And you were 18 at the time?
Yeah, I was, just 18. So I thought, what, a dog trainer? I'm like, okay. I just kind of blew it off. I just continued.
That's a messenger.
That wasn't She came out of nowhere, said that, and disappeared.
Then disappeared. And
exactly.
you look and she's gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, messenger.
And then people at the shelter were saying, oh my God, how's that dog doing that when I walk? And I thought, oh, maybe there's something in this, right? So I looked into researching a couple of different dog training and courses or whatever. And one of the guys at work, go down to Southern Shire. There's a dog club there, and I started doing agility with Ace. So Ace is my new dog that I adopted before I worked at the Sydney Dogs and Cats Home. I adopted him, and he became a new dog. Yeah. And so I started doing some stuff with her. And Margaret there, she's awesome, and she gave me a couple of tips, and she was starting to help me train the dog. And she told me that I have to do this course. It was called the NDTF, National Dog Trainers Federation. So I started doing that. It was an 8-month course. It was correspondence. You do 8-day blocks, practical courses. And then from there, basically, I did work with them for a little bit. So I left the shelter. I worked at the kennels there, but an hour and a half driving every day. I loved working there. Awesome.
Where's
team. It's Pet Resorts Australia, so out of Dural.
Oh, yeah.
So an hour and a half.
It's a decent drive.
Peak hour traffic, crossing Sydney every day. It was tiring. I was 21. I thought I'd come home wanting to sleep, and that's not me normally because I'm a very high energy guy.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I left. I went back to the shelter and I made some business cards, and I thought I'm just going to flaunt these out to everyone that comes in. I just, and it wasn't a conflict of interest with the shelter. If anything, it was kind of benefiting them, right?
Yeah,
Complimenting them.
absolutely.
So